Hello, friend. So nice to welcome you to an important discussion on training, a special live event from Vision 2020. I so love being in the face-to-face studio doing town halls and all the interviews that I've done. It's a passion of mine to be live. Hey, if you need to be convinced to pay for your technician training, well, you've come to the perfect episode.
I talked to somebody earlier, and it just absolutely floored them what I spent on training last year. I spent $90,000 on training last year.
Welcome, automotive aftermarketers, to a Remarkable Results Radio Town Hall Academy. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results.
Hey, welcome, Carm Capriato, the Automotive Aftermarket Podcast guy. Hey, always keeping you in mind as we search for great guests and topics to help you on your success ladder. Hey, think about this for just a moment. It just may be time to transform your shop with the only shop management system that will give you more profit and more time. Now, I bet you've been thinking about an upgrade right now. I'm hearing from more people who have made the decision to go to ShopWhere. Find out how shops using ShopWhere are driving up their profit with more efficient staff and happier customers. Wow. Visit shop-where.com for a free demo. Hey, welcome to the cool place where the uptake is bright and brilliant and the discussions are captivating and wise. The Aftermarket's premier podcast, always free and on demand and open 24 hours a day. Hey, please, when you have a chance, visit the remarkableresults.biz website and scour the resources. Our books page, the keyword page that helps you focus on specific topics are all there. We've got the AMI page and all 745 plus episodes segmented for you. There's also the listen page that shows you how you can get your mobile listening app for all three shows. My guests today are Tyler Hubbard, owner of I-70 Auto Service in Kansas City, Missouri, Keith Williamson from Williamson's Repair and Tire in Bondurant, Iowa, and John Long is here, partner in Schertz Auto Service, Schertz, Texas. Now, you're going to hear that Tyler, Keith, and John are aligned as to why they pay for training. And as I asked many techs and shop owners while at Vision 2020, there was a huge growth, I felt, in the number of shops that closed and brought their entire team to Vision 2020. Learn how they manage their training classes here at Vision from this episode. Now, we get into details. Listen to John tell you that he spends 3% of sales on training, and last year, for him, that was $90,000. So think about having a $750,000 shop and keeping with the 3% of sales. That would be $22,500 investment in training in your people. Your productivity, happier customers, team retention, and being able to take on just about any job that comes in the door is an outcome. Hey, training should be one of the largest investments in your shop. Catch the fever.
We got a great topic, a topic, that I think is near and dear to my heart. And we're hopefully going to come out and change your thinking, maybe your paradigm on why we should be paying for technician training. Hey, who's with me is Keith Williamson from Williamson's Repair and Tire in Bondurant, Iowa. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, because your names aren't up on the screen, so the people are going to have to figure out who you all are. John Long is here, partner in Schertz Auto Service in Schertz, Texas.
Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good to have you here. I got a Schertz t-shirt the other day. It's really cool. I love it. And Tyler Hubbard's here, owner of I-70 Auto Service, Kansas City, Missouri. Hometown boy.
Hometown boy, right here.
Boy, good to have you here. So here's my observation, world, is as I've met so many great people, a lot of new friends here, and I don't mind stopping technicians and anybody that I meet, shake their hand, say hi. It's not about the show, but I really want to know what's going on with them. How did they get here? Did they pay for the training? Did they open or close their shop? And as I was telling Keith off mic, and I've told previous episodes that we've been recording here, there's an unbelievable shift in technicians that are being paid not only their wage for being here, but for all the training, and for shops that close. And then I ask the right question next, guys. So what about the revenue? Carm, we're not worried about it. We're going to make it up. It's part of the investment that we make in training. So there's the worry warts out there that say, I can't do this. And then there's people that have just decided, I'm doing this. So thanks for coming here and to talk about paying for technician training. And I hope we accomplish here, everyone, is that we talk about some hows. How should we do this, and the mindset of this. John, you've done this in the past, and tell me why you're so passionate about it.
You just got to grow your own people. Everybody's got to grow. I just love growing people. That's what I'm passionate about. I was talking to Keith earlier about, he was possibly thinking of opening up a second location. He's not sure about it. And I said, no, this is what we're doing. I'm doing that because I want to grow people. I want to help people and grow them in our industry, and just kind of do the right thing for them.
So growing them is that like a strategic initiative for you to be sure that these techs stay on the cutting edge?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm constantly looking.
What's the benefit?
Benefit is for all of us.
It's the right answer, but even more, I'll bet you're more profitable. I bet you're more efficient from all of this, right?
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely are.
And why doesn't the industry get that?
I'm not sure, because they're not here.
Yeah.
Oh, holy cripe, that's the answer. Episode over.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
There we go. Like I said, it's the benefit for all of us. Rising tide will raise all ships. That's just what it is.
Yeah, it is. Keith, you're not far away in Bondurant. A couple hours?
Yeah, 2.5 hours maybe.
Yep. Have you ever brought the entire team over?
Oh, every year.
They're here?
Yep, they're here.
Are you closed?
We are not closed this year because one of my advisors had a family problem that she is the single mom now.
Yeah.
So she is not able to leave her kids and come down for the whole weekend.
Okay. So she stayed open?
So she stayed there, and then I have a apprentice that is doing oil changes, tire repairs, tire mounting.
So the lights are on, but there's no big numbers being done.
Yeah, there's nothing really being done.
So. And so if anyone calls it, you know what? I have heard, Tyler, and I'm not sure if you've heard this, but people that plan to close down and take their entire shop, they promote this to their customers.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the reasons you come here, and we do such good work, cutting edge, always on time and under budget, whatever.
Yep.
We take people to training, so this is that time of the year that we close and we go.
We, for lack of a better term, pulled the Band-Aid 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, I promote it. I promote it to my customers. I promote it on Facebook. I tell everybody we're closing every year. And it's just due to the fact that we want to provide the best possible customer service. And the best way to do this is to go get trained and stay up on technology. There's no way around it.
So you've looked at the schedule that's going on here at Vision. By the way, one of the premier events in the entire U.S., thousands and thousands and thousands of people here, some of the best trainers in the entire world. Big expo about ready to open so everybody can see, feel, and touch all the new tech and visit with all these great companies that support Vision. Did you go to the bar last night, John?
Unfortunately so, yes. I was there a little bit too late.
But rumor has it that is the best networking experience you could have.
It is. It is by far.
And there's people that they're with Cokes and waters because they don't drink. But that's where so much action is. That's where people get to lifelong friends.
Exactly.
So I had a guy that had one of my technicians had a birthday, and John and everybody there sang happy birthday to my tech at the bar. I mean, everybody that was there sang happy birthday.
Tyler, you grew up with Joe Sievert. Everyone knows Joe.
Correct.
Joe's always had that high training culture thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I picked up on from him. And I think it goes back to what was discussed first is I'm in the business of making people successful. And I want my staff to be successful. Mm-hmm. And the best way to do that is to take them and give them opportunities to get better and pay for them to get better and pay for them to train. I want everybody at my shop to be successful. If they're all successful, then everybody, the shop will be too. I mean, I think what we talked about first, like you said, case closed, close down the podcast.
Yeah, we're done. Just get here or get to your local regional training. Hey, Carm here, and I bet you think of your shop management system every day and wonder if it's time to make an important change. A change to a modern, efficient, and powerful system. Now, instead of thinking about your old system, I want you to consider ShopWhere, a comprehensive cloud-powered shop management system that gives your customers an end-to-end digital experience that will help you sell more services while making your customers happier. And who doesn't want happier customers? In a study of work orders written and shared on ShopWhere, sharing the digital work order with your customer generated a 12% increase in their likelihood to buy. Now, that translates to additional sales in your business. And with ShopWare's proprietary Parts GP Optimizer,
you can boost your parts margin with the click of a button and leave behind the pain of managing an old parts matrix. Put solid gross margin dollars back in your business because ShopWhere puts huge computing power into making you successful. Now it's time. Make the switch to ShopWhere. Get a free live demonstration at shop-where.com and find out how you can make more money from happier customers.
There's been a frustration, Keith, that a lot of trainers have by investing their time. I mean, obviously, trainers get paid to do what they do, and rightfully so. They're probably underpaid to do what they do. They've got to write the class. They have to prove the class, especially the technology ones with case studies and stuff. They put a ton of work, a lot of shoulder into what they do. Rightfully so. They get paid for what they do. They come here. And of course, if it's good, there's the form that says the trainer was good. I mean, you always have a chance to give your own input.
For sure.
If not, they wouldn't be back. Yeah. If you look at the schedule and see the amount of training, and, I look at some of the trainers, in my mind, they're celebrities or superstars in our industry. They're so good at what they do, and people walk away with great training. Guys, do you have anybody here with you? Besides just you? All right.
Nope. I've got 4 other people here with me.
4 other people. How many you got here, Keith?
I've got 4 others as well.
Tyler?
Entire staff.
Okay. And how many is that?
3 in total.
Okay, 3. What's your post-education follow-up? I would hope that you all don't go to the same class.
No.
Okay. Do you go back and then find some lunch and learns and each shares with each other what they learned, or at least give an overview?
We just talked about that last night. We always have a weekly meeting every week. I buy lunch for everybody. We have an hour meeting. We actually lock the door so we don't get bothered.
Okay.
Customers just know it. And I talk to everybody about let's bring something that you like the most from Vision. What did you learn? What was the best thing that take away from Vision? How do we implement? Let's have a discussion about that. Maybe this meeting needs to be 2 hours instead of an hour because I know it's going to get in depth.
Yeah, we do something very similar, with that. I always cook lunches on Wednesdays as it is anyway. So we'll probably do some talking in there. But, while we're here, every morning I'm having breakfast with everybody else that's here, my teammates, and we're talking about what they're going to go to today. And then, like last night, just like Keith, we had dinner and we're talking about, okay, what was the one thing that you took away from each class today? Give me one thing.
I can't imagine the strength of the bonding of the team.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, it's all about that.
The friendships that you think you know each other until you go to a conference, and then people start talking about things that they would normally not talk about.
Exactly.
And you find out, and you end up probably loving them more and respecting them more, and realize that they've walked the same path you have, and that if the culture's right in the business. You're actually watering that culture.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. We had that same talk on Wednesday, hey, let's everybody go. Let's everybody enjoy. I'm excited for everybody to go get better, go to classes, but let's have this thought in mind that our weekly meeting's on Thursday. So next Thursday, we're going to talk about it. And the other thing too, is I have an immense appreciation for my employees wanting to come to this.
The thing I said earlier is that if someone went to a GDI class and someone else didn't, and even if someone did a year before and there's a new and different trainer, is there all kinds of value for giving that person 1 hour to roll up their sleeves and let me share with you the things that I learned, what I wrote in the margins, okay? Sure. And a case study or two that was referenced to me, so that everyone learns. And maybe, just maybe, for that year, is that tech becomes the expert, quote unquote, the go-to guy in the shop.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. I've got one technician that all the classes he's taken is ADOS classes while he's here.
Okay.
That's all he's taken. So he's going to be our go-to guy for the next year about anything with that. So all the other techs are going to go up to him and ask him questions. I'm going to ask him questions. Our advisors are going to ask him questions. He is the man.
Smart.
One thing that we started doing, I got this idea from Seth Thorson. He's a great Euro guy from Minneapolis. Yeah. We started doing lunch and learns where the techs each have to give a 5 to 10 minute speech about how to do something new, what they've learned, some new technologies, things like that. It's great for developing your people as leaders, which we all want to do. if they're totally scared of talking, it's really 5 or 6 of us in a room. I mean, we work together every day. It's not the same thing as standing up in front of 3,000 people. So I've not had any kickback on that. It's been an awesome deal.
No kickback, but anybody ever come up to you and say, I'm out of my comfort zone, Keith, but I'm good with this. This is really helping me?
Yeah. I mean, they've said that don't sign me up to stand up in front of a class, but I'm good with this at lunchtime. So.
With our friends, our buddies, we're here. Larry made a comment on Zoom here that he says vision is great, training is great, but if we don't test, are we really investing right? What do you guys think of that?
What I mentioned earlier, we're in the evening, I'm going with talking about them. Give me one thing that you learned today.
So the testing part is regurgitate for me what you learned. And what there's one other thing that I thought of, since we wouldn't have a formal test. But what if, on the wall is the tech and the classes right there. It's for public to see. It's never going to go away for 1 year. There they are. During the year, when anything that I took, I was able to actually case study. I remember learning that. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't that be, if there's a testing piece, is that we should always be looking for how to apply in the business the things that we learned.
For sure. Yeah, that's kind of our culture. I tell the guys all the time, if you see something that is unique to you or something you learned in a class, I'll stop production of everybody else, bring them over, take 5 minutes, show them that. I mean, that's how we grow. That's what makes this training so valuable.
So I'm a naysayer. Keith, you're crazy. Close, pay for all that training?
Yeah. I mean, last year I experienced this in person. A tech from Canada was down here, and he had paid for his own training, his own hotel, and his own flight down from Canada to come to Vision. He had heard it was great. He wanted to come. There's a shop owner that ended up on the same flight that was in the same town of him as his. And we got to talking afterwards, and the shop owner ended up hiring this technician because he had all of his crew there and he paid for the whole thing, So this guy that didn't want to pay for training ended up losing a great technician it was the technician that we're all looking for, that wants to go training. He wants to get better, but the shop owner wasn't willing to pay for it.
Well, that won't happen to me. I'm sorry, I'm going to be the naysayer here. Tyler convinced me. If I train them, they leave.
Once again, I go back to one of the very first things we talked about is I want people to be successful, and I want to treat them well enough that they're never going to want to leave me. But I want to train them good enough that they're capable of leaving me. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what we all want. We all want success for everybody in our shop.
Give me an idea. What did you spend, John? I mean, come on, I don't have that kind of money.
I mean, you start looking at revenue too.
Yeah, it pays for itself.
What do you mean?
It pays for itself over time.
I bet you spent $5,000.
You better up it a little.
Yeah.
But all right, I bet you spent $8,000.
You can't be afraid to pay for that training. What happens when you don't pay for that training?
Yeah.
What happens?
All right.
The tech stays and he's not learning and growing?
You guys haven't convinced me.
How many mistakes is the tech going to pay?
Now we're getting into it.
If he's not here,
let's get into it. How
much is that mistake going to cost you?
Yeah. I mean, do you track your comebacks? Exactly. Is it because of the lack of training, poor processes? You learn about processes here. I know that.
Oh, for sure. You got new technology that's coming out all the time. Yeah. If you don't send your tech to the training, how's he going to know what to do with that vehicle when it comes in?
Yeah, and you just talked about the GDI example. Like, we went to a class and learned about GDI. So instead of taking that technician 2 or 3 hours to figure out that problem, it took him 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Or he'll come up to you and say, hey, I can't work on this car. We got to send it someplace else.
Yeah.
That's lost.
Time is money, productivity, production, all that stuff, right? Isn't it at the end of the day about happy customers? The reason that they come is because you do the job, you do it on time, you do it right.
That's number one in our shop. Customers are why we're in business. They're what keeps us in business. And us providing the best possible customer service we can is the best thing that we can do for them. My technician's not going to training and not staying on top of technology. I'm not going to be able to do that.
The thing we need to remember is we're not in the auto repair business. We're in the people business. Yeah. As long as you remember that, you treat people right, you fix what their issues are, they're going to come back to you.
So let me throw something at you. You partially nailed my answer, and thank you for that. Just before you guys got in here, I finished an episode that we recorded with Jeremy O'Neill and Chris Collins. And Chris said, the advantage you create is you create the advantage you create in your business. So if I said, why would you pay for training? You'd say, I'm gaining a competitive advantage on hiring, retention, customer service, trust, quality. Wouldn't that be the reason that you invest in your people? And again, I say the word invest. You would say, Carm, what do you mean? You keep talking about spending and all this money. And so if you're ready to buy that newfangled balancer for $7,000, you wouldn't invest $7,000 in your people?
For sure. Your people better know how to use that new equipment that you buy. And they're not going to know that if you don't go to training.
Right. Got it. Oh, boy. I wish there just was some magic pixie dust we could throw up over this great industry of ours and have all of it work. Guys, is the enemy inside of your own business you?
It absolutely can be.
It can be, and it typically is, yeah.
How do we relate that to training?
I think the hardest, I heard it this morning in a class, the hardest thing to change is the 7 inches in between your ears.
Yeah.
And, once you go to enough classes, you start looking at yourself differently. You start looking at the things that you do differently. Hopefully you get to the point where you can self-assess and say, hey, I've got a weakness in this area. I really need to up my game here. Mm-hmm. And that's going to help your culture. That's going to help your team. Your team's going to see you growing, so they're going to want to grow. It's just a full circle.
So you guys are all shop owners, and let me throw the word budgeting at you. Okay, if you're not budgeting, you're wrong in everything that you do as a business person, because the cash that's left is the lifeblood of new equipment growth, salaries, all that stuff. What's left at the bottom is where all that stuff comes out of, debt service and all that stuff. And so if I wanted to make sure that there was 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% left on the bottom line, I would want to be a better budgeter. And yes, in that expense category that we think is a cost and not an investment is training. Any of you guys have an idea of what percent of sales we should invest in training?
I've heard some other shops doing as much as 5, 7%. I'm at 3%, and I think that's a little bit low. I think we need to raise it. But when you look at it, I'm going to throw a number out there that I talked to somebody earlier, and that just absolutely floored them what I spent on training last year. I spent $90,000 on training last year. And that just floored another shop owner that I was talking to. But that was only 3%.
Did he call you nuts, or did you change his thinking?
I think I changed his thinking, because you have to invest in these people. These techs are getting older. They're not growing on trees. You have to build up new people and get them in there, and that's going to cost money to build all these tech, young guys up into A-techs. That's all what we all want.
Do your techs want to be trained?
Yes. Very badly they do.
Yeah. They all want to get better.
If you have a tech that doesn't want to attend training, that's a tech that you need to get rid of.
Yep.
That if they're not wanting to go, if they're not wanting to learn, then they're falling by the wayside. That can't happen.
Training. Okay, we're talking only technician training here.
It's not only techs. It's visors.
Yeah.
Everybody. The whole entire shop.
That's where I was going.
Us included.
Yes. That part of that.
That's where I was going with CEO training, advisor training, and technician training. Please don't think this is all about the tech.
No.
Right.
It's for sure. Part of that money of our budget of 3% is, my training as an owner, our service advisors training, everybody. It's just not the technicians. You have to train everybody in your business.
And I think more technician when I come here, I guess, because we have advisor training on an ongoing basis. Every week they're getting training. Every month I'm getting training from my coach. I have a business coach, like most of us here probably do.
Yeah.
So I think more, the technicians don't get that opportunity maybe as much as the rest of the crew, but we have to make sure we're nurturing that.
I think it creates a positive environment when everybody is involved in training. It's not just technicians and it's not just service advisors. It's even us as owners. Yep. It shows the importance, the value that we put on it. And I think that's huge for the culture of your shop.
Do you guys keep training resumes on your people?
Oh, yes.
I keep a track of how many hours I require them to take a set amount of hours a year, and I keep track of that. If they don't take it, they know they're not going to be employed there next year. So,
yeah, I do the same thing. I've got a Google Doc that I keep, and it's updated every quarter. They have to have a minimum of 10 hours, and that they also get, part of their year-end profit sharing is based on the amount of training they do. The more training they do, the more money I'm going to give them at the...
That's a groundswell. I want to let you know that. We did an episode with Bill Hill. He did a For the Record with us, and he ranted in early December about the fact that it's that time of the year. I stopped the turkeys at Thanksgiving, and I put in the incentive for the number of hours. And he's got this really cool formula on how he does it. Please go back, For the Record, Bill Hill. Just go to my site. Maybe I can't look it up right now, but that seems to be the norm. Okay, I pay him a living wage. I pay for all that training. You pay for all that training, and then you put a bonus on top of it? Are you guys nuts?
No, not at all. I do it every day.
Yep. I gladly write that check at the end of the year, and I want it to be a large check, just because then I know they've grown, and our business grows with them.
So you look at the $90,000 that you spent last year, or you will spend this year on training. Is it a number that you love? I mean, do you say, well, we should spend more money, or can I cut that budget? It's part of your business fabric.
Yeah, for me, that's a hard line number. That's not a number that I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut something else if I have to cut something. That training is a hard line number that will not go away for us anymore.
That training relates to your sales. I mean, if you're not paying for that training, your sales are going to fall. So then that's going to be a bigger percentage of that 90,000 is going to be a lot bigger percentage than 3% if your sales.
So your minimum requirements are 40 a year. What about yourself? Do you put any CEO requirements on you?
There's no specific requirement on myself.
Okay.
It's just that I know that I'm going to go to training, and I know that I'm going to go to as much as I can.
If I came to you and said, I want to go to an Excel class, would you pay for that?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to go learn how to run Windows 10. There's a class, and actually it's free at the Microsoft store. Can I have the time off?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's all evaluating how it's going to benefit the employee and also your business. I'm not looking to cutting the budget. I might be looking to, hey, this didn't end up being what we thought it was, or the benefit we got out of it, so let's look into something else.
I got it.
Exactly.
Not all training is good training.
No,
exactly. That's what
absolutely.
you're saying.
Yep.
Absolutely. And maybe the class I went to really benefited me, but Keith didn't get a whole lot from it. So he's going to try something different that benefits him.
Yeah.
So
maybe, because we're probably all on a different path, or a different area in our path. I mean, we're all on the same basic path, but maybe I'm not as far along as John is, or Tyler, or whatever,
And I think that goes back to also, the training that your advisors go to or your techs go to is having that debrief. What did you get out of the class? I didn't really get out of anything of it. Okay, well, let's not do that one again. So that's part of that debriefing process that you have to have with whoever you send to training.
No, I think that's huge. I mean, I think both the positives from training and also the negatives. Every class isn't going to hit.
And make sure the negatives that you're filling out the request forms, you're filling out all that at the end of the class. If you didn't like the trainer, say something so that they're not back next year.
Hey, I so love where this is going. And if you're listening out there and you're hovering and you're not investing, I hope we've done a good enough job to explain to you that, training is as important as paying the 941s every quarter to the government. How are we going to do this? Okay, you convinced me. My budget's where it is. I'm not making a ton of money. I'm not sure where I'm going to really get the cash, move things around. The deck's on the Titanic type of thing to find the funds, but to engage my people, ask them what they need, do the surveys, inside the staff. What are we struggling with? What would you love? If you had any class to go to, what would it be thing? And okay, now I've got the idea of what I need to do for my team from their perspective, what I hear in the industry. How am I going to pay for this thing? Let's talk about some creative ways.
I think a very simple one that we all do is we all have a pile of brake calipers sitting outside of our shop, right? Converters and mufflers and whatever else, scrap metal might be there. Start using that money for training. I mean, you get money for that. Whether you take it in or, in my case, I have a guy come in every month and picks that up, keeps all of our scrap area clean, and he gives me half of that money. He gets enough more out of it than I do. If I took it in, it's not worth my time.
Wait a minute. That money I put in a little envelope, and me and the missus, we go away for a long weekend.
No, you save that for training.
Yeah.
You can absolutely,
pay for training. You can go on a lot better vacations.
Or buy your team lunch and have training there. Yeah. Perfect.
Hit the nail right on the head with that one.
You're not going on the right vacations if you're paying it for scrap money.
God, that is just fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Any way you can pay for it. It's going to pay for itself.
There's plenty of parts rebates programs out there. I know Motorcraft has one. AC Delco, Nissan actually just started doing a parts rebate program where you sign up and then your dealers report what you're buying, and then they'll send you a credit card in the mail.
No kidding. Yep. I just saw guys. He pulled his credit card out that's loaded each and every month from some places that they do business with, and he goes, This is my training card. This is how I pay for training for the team.
So I don't necessarily use mine for training. I use it for the other expenses, the meals. I take everybody out every night for a meal. We all get together, drinks at the bar or whatever that case may be. That's what my AC Delco cards are used for.
Yeah, and that's still part of the whole thing. That's still part of everything.
Yeah, the other thing too is, look into your suppliers. I know Napa's got good training programs that we go to. There's a lot of different places you can get training from.
So local or national, guys?
Everything you can get, everything, all of it.
I've seen some of the same classes CTI is big in our area, CarQuest Technical Institute, and I've seen some of the same classes there and the same instructors that I've seen down here at Vision. So not saying you have to come here for it.
Oh, no.
There's places to find it.
Oh, no, there's not a second string anywhere.
Yeah.
The first string comes to your city. The first string comes here, goes to APAC. They're all first stringers.
Yeah.
I know this for a fact. They wouldn't be training for these big companies if they weren't first stringers.
For sure.
And look within your own staff. My lead technician, Michael Chilcutt, I can have him come in on a Saturday and train a new guy on a picoscope. He is an amazing individual that works for me, and he's a self-trainer that's within my staff. He knows how to use the equipment I have, and it's not that big of a deal for me to pay him a couple hours and the guys that come in a couple hours and them to have the shop to themselves on a Saturday and learn how to use some of the equipment.
National training, local training, in-house training.
Yes. I have the same thing. I have an A-Tech that's great with all things electrical and digital, and he will sit down and speak in words that I couldn't begin to think of at their level. He's awesome. Yeah. So, and I pay him for that.
We're in the people business.
Yeah, exactly.
Did we miss anything here in this discussion?
Not going on vacations with scrap money.
Yeah. You need a better vacation.
Oh, yeah. That's really good. Maybe it was a poor analogy, but I don't think I was too far off.
No, that was awesome.
I don't think I was too far off because I was getting into a subject earlier, with the coaches this morning about reporting and stealing cash from the business and the fact that you don't think the IRS knows that stuff, with their $17 billion computer system. Yeah. They'll get you one day and all that stuff. And, for insurance reasons, legitimizing your revenue and having it all be there. And, if you're going to be a professional in our industry, you don't cheat the system.
No, for sure.
No,
don't cheat the system. But you can take the scrap money and throw it on a debit card and use that for training, parts rebates that you're getting.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, it may be figured into the margin that you're making on parts, but who says you can't slice off in your budget sheet a couple % of that money that comes in?
Or build it into your labor rate.
Yeah,
or a couple extra dollars in your labor
absolutely.
Rate. Or a training fee on every ticket. Multitude of ways you can do it.
So I end up, this is the coolest thing. You end up getting into a calculator with your coach based on what your net profit needs to be and your productivity and your efficiencies, your pay efficiency, and you set your labor rate. And then you go out there and you say +2 or plus $1.95 or whatever that number is.
Yeah.
And every time you know that you're booking an hour of labor, you know that you're funding your training.
And it's so minimal. Like you said, like $1.95. Yeah, that is going to pay for training.
No one's going to notice that.
No.
Not one single customer will notice that.
No one is going to say, no, you're not doing my brakes. I can get it $2 cheaper down the street. No one.
You're
no
right.
one's saying that.
The reason we're $2 more is because we take our technicians to training and our advisors to training. So,
Well, this was great. Thank you for being on our live show out of Vision 2020 here for the Town Hall Academy, week number 162. Oh, my. Keith Williamson from Williamson's Repair and Tire in Bondurant, Iowa, and John Long, partner in Shirts Auto Service, Shirts, Texas. Your partner has been hovering over us, and Mark Roberts, thanks for being on the Zoom platform, and Tyler Hubbard's here, owner of I-70 Auto Service, Kansas City, Missouri. Guys, thanks.
Thank you.
It was a great dialogue. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Carm.
Thanks.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time,